Hey everyone, this is Chris and welcome to Unwanted Tutorials. Unwanted Tutorials is a loose collection of how-to, hands-on, decidedly irreverent videos in which I aim to enable you to create engaging content using DCS's hellish creation tools. Last time we looked at ground groups and how we can assign a route. We'll now do the same with naval groups, and I promise to behave as much as I can. To begin, I'll create a group of 6 vessels off the coast of Batumi by first clicking on the ship on the left side, then choosing Combined Joint, then a CG Ticonderoga class ship, and click on the map to place the first ship. Then I go into Edit mode. Remember that Mission Editor's brain-dead UI automatically goes into Add mode, so we go to Edit mode. I then use the clown control to add 5 copies of the first ship. We now have a group of 6 Ticonderoga-class missile cruisers sitting in the Black Sea. I zoom in to better see the group. Then I click on the 1 unit to select the group's lead unit and turn it into a CVN-74 Stennis, a Nimitz-class carrier, and, purely out of routine, I change its radio to 137.5 MHz. I like the carrier group as it is, 1 carrier and 5 missile cruisers for escort. I distribute the other 5 ships loosely around the carrier, with the Stennis as center. Finally, I click on the Stennis in the center to have the 1 unit selected. To add a route, I click on the Add button. Looking at the waypoint info, we see that the information presented here is very similar to what we saw for ground groups. Waypoint undefined of 1. Yeah, the shoddiest of the shoddy strike again. Since this is an Eagle Dynamics product, here too we'll see that the bozos at UI Design present the waypoints based on 2 different counts. The last waypoint's index number is, if it is displayed, which right now it is not, because bozos, the last waypoint's index number is always 1 less than the total number of waypoints. You can, if you want, but nobody ever does, give each waypoint a name. Note that the manual says that for each waypoint you can assign a unique name. Here, like sadly so often, it seems that whoever wrote that doesn't know what words mean, because unlike unit or group names, waypoint names in missions do not have to be unique. Unique waypoint names aren't enforced, and if 2 or more waypoints have the same name, it has no consequences. So yeah, unfortunately the DCS manual seems to be in line quality-wise with the rest of the package. We again encounter the stupidly named type control. For ground units, that defines the formation. Here, it defines literally nothing, as the drop-down menu contains exactly 1 item, turning point. What does it mean? We'll find out soon. But wait, the clown show isn't over yet. Remember that in ground groups you could, when you chose custom in type, select a template? Well, since there is no custom type to select, the template control here is another unneeded proof that a bozo created this interface. It really is difficult to screw up more often on so few controls. Eagle Dynamics, what are you doing? The next control is equally clownish, depth. Truth be told, if your group includes submarines, there is an argument that could be made to include a depth control. If you are a hopeless optimist, that is. Submarines in DCS are next to unusable, their AI is inexistent, and waypoints should apply to the entire group, not just a single submarine. So depth is a control that is ill thought out and usually stays at 0. I may revisit setting up submarine packs in Mission Editor, but since there is no anti-submarine warfare in DCS, there currently is no point in doing so. That being said, I did write an anti-submarine mission once. That's where I found out just how atrociously bad DCS's submarines are and ended up writing 99% of that mission as Lua code. And although that mission has some novelty value and requires helicopter skills, DCS itself is complete trash when it comes to ASW. Which is a shame, really, since that is a central role for naval aircraft. Then there are controls for speed, GS, fixed time and start ETA. Speed is self-explanatory, and Mission Editor limits the group's speed to that of the slowest vessel. A nice feature, even if lazily implemented. There are no warnings if Mission Editor self-adjusts the group's speed. The other controls are again very mission-specific, and I may return to them in a different tutorial. So, in summary, route controls are again assembled by what appears to be a group of idiots. So let's see how we use them. Just like with ground groups, I first select any unit of the group. You don't have to select the lead unit to assign routes, and then I click on Add to enter waypoint add mode. Any subsequent left click on the map adds that point as a new waypoint to the group's route. Note that once I add a new waypoint to the group, speed jumps to 50 km per hour, some 30 knots. I add 3 more waypoints to the group, bringing up the total to 5. Or, as you can see, currently selected is waypoint 4 of 5. Yeah, the 4th of 5 is the last one. 7 of 9 would likely have killed Janeway for less. It is this kind of abysmally shoddy work that to me defines Mission Editor and makes Eagle Dynamics' apparent disdain for their content creators so unbearable. Shame on you, Eagle Dynamics. In my mind, you fall remarkably short of your own boasts of quality. To change a waypoint, first click on Edit, then left click and drag any waypoint and release where you want the waypoint to be. This aspect of Mission Editor is very helpful. Unlike ground units, naval units keep their position in a group. If we let the mission run, we'll find that all units in the task force keep their relative positions to each other even through turns, which is, come to think of, how this should work. And I wish how it would work for ground troops. On the other hand, letting the mission run, we also find out a few other interesting details. In DCS, Nimitz-class carriers can accelerate at 1 km per hour per second. It takes the Stennis 50 seconds to accelerate from a standstill to 30 knots, 50 km per hour. That's impressive, considering that in the real world it would take about 10 minutes, more than 10 times as long. That's about as realistic as the 285 miles per hour Abrams tank that you can get in combined arms. DCS's physics engine may be accurate for some of their air modules. It's complete and utter trash for everything else. Remember this the next time that some bright-eyed kiddo waxes poetically about DCS's supposed realism. DCS is mostly BS realism and laughably inaccurate, except for some aspects of some of the aircraft that ED sell. And Eagle Dynamics are currently, end of 2025, scheduled to go full fantasy when they release their F-35 module. To date, realism in DCS is laughable, except for some tiny aspects of some planes. Now, I won't fault ED for BS technology in DCS. DCS is a game, and I expect games to be fun, not realistic. I do fault ED for claiming that the BS that they sell is realistic. If you believe that DCS is realistic, I have a bridge to sell to you. And there you have it. Trash naval physics, trash ground physics, a terrible UX, but adding routes to naval groups is entirely doable in Mission Editor. As before, the onus of creating a good mission is entirely upon you, fellow content creator. Mission Editor won't help, and for naval groups it also won't get into the way too much. Alright, let's not procrastinate too much. I've been putting off air group routes for long enough. I'll see you in the next tutorial, all mellowed out and as good-natured as today. Until then, have fun and take care!